You're tired. You're frustrated. And honestly, you're wondering if it's even worth pushing anymore. Maybe you've tried and failed so many times that your belief in yourself is slipping. But let me ask you something. What if the change you've been waiting for is on the other side of not giving up today? What if this moment, right now, is the one that decides who you become next? This video is not about hype. It's about real talk. It's for people who feel like stopping, but know deep down they can't afford to. If you're carrying stress, pressure, doubt, and you feel like quitting, you're in the right place. Because we're about to talk about how to keep moving when everything inside you wants to shut down. How to push through the mental walls, the physical pain, the emotional weight. Stick with this. What you hear today might be the reason you don't quit tomorrow. Let's start. Number 1, face your pain and keep moving without hesitation. You're tired. You're worn down. You feel like you've given everything you've got, and it still isn't enough. The truth is, most people stop right there. They pull back. They shut down. They wait for something to change. But not you. Not today. Because today is the day you face your pain and move forward anyway. See, pain is not a signal to stop. It's not proof that you're failing. It's proof that you're growing. And if you can understand that, really understand that, then pain becomes fuel. But here's the hard part. When you're in it, when you're deep in the middle of struggle, logic doesn't help much. What does help is a decision. A real decision. The kind you don't back away from when it hurts. Most people think pain is the enemy, but it's not. The real enemy is hesitation. That little pause you take when things start to feel heavy. That tiny moment when you tell yourself maybe it's not worth it. That's the killer. That's what steals dreams. Not the pain, but the pause. You don't need perfect timing. You don't need the right mood. You don't need another sign from the world that says now is your time. You need to stand up inside yourself. You need to decide that no matter how bad it hurts, you're not stopping. Because let's be honest, nobody hands you strength. Nobody shows up to save you from the discomfort. You earn that. You build that when you're exhausted and you show up anyway. You build it when you feel broken, but you take one more step. That's how it works. It's not fancy. It's not pretty, but it's real. The truth is, most people don't want to face their pain. They want to cover it up. They want distractions, comfort, quick fixes. But you can't grow from what you're not willing to face. If you run from it, it owns you. If you face it, you take your power back. You might feel like you're walking through fire right now, like everything's pressing in on you, and no one gets it. But I'm telling you, millions of people are feeling the same thing right now, at this moment, quietly, alone, thinking they're the only one, thinking maybe they're not strong enough to push through. But you are. You're not alone in the pain, but you can be the one who rises out of it. Stop asking for it to get easier. Ask for the strength to deal with what's in front of you. Ask for the will to keep going. Ask yourself who you want to become, not just what you want to achieve. Because real change starts when you face your hardest truth and refuse to flinch. Pain has a voice. It tells you to stop. It whispers that you're not enough. It shows you every past failure and every weakness. But that voice is lying. It's testing you. It's asking, do you want this badly enough? And every time you take another step forward, you answer yes. You might cry. You might stumble. You might scream in frustration. But if you don't stop, if you just keep showing up, you will change. You will grow. You will become someone most people never get to become. Not because they couldn't, but because they wouldn't. Everyone says they want it. They say they want success, freedom, confidence, peace. But the second it gets hard, they hesitate. They start looking for shortcuts. You can't afford that. You've already come this far. You've already walked through too much to let hesitation rob you of the finish line. You have to get tired of your own hesitation. You have to call it out because it's not protecting you, it's poisoning you. Every time you stop yourself, you're telling your mind that fear wins, that doubt is stronger than desire. But you can flip that script. You can train your mind to respond differently. Not with panic, but with power. Not with fear, but with focus. You don't need to be fearless. You need to be brave. And bravery means feeling the pain, hearing the fear, and moving anyway. That's the edge. That's where breakthroughs live. Right on the other side of the point where most people quit. If it's tough, good. That means it matters. That means it's shaping you. That means you're in the process of becoming someone you've never been before. Don't avoid it. Don't numb it. Don't ask for less pain. Stand in it. Own it. Use it. People talk a lot about success, but they forget what comes before it. Struggle, doubt, loneliness, discipline, showing up when it feels like nothing is working. And that's what separates the ones who make it from the ones who don't. The ones who make it push through. They don't flinch when it hurts. They lean in, push through the fatigue, push through the fear, push through the self-doubt. Every time you do, you build trust with yourself. You prove you're capable. And that confidence, that self-trust, is more powerful than motivation. Because motivation comes and goes, but trust in yourself, that lasts. Think back on every hard thing you've already survived. Every time you thought you were at the end, but you kept going anyway. That's not luck. That's you. That's who you are. And if you've done it before, you can do it again. But you have to want the outcome more than the comfort. You have to want the change more than the safety. You have to want the future more than the moment. Because this moment, this pain, it's just a test. And if you pass it, you earn a new level of life, a new level of belief, a new level of strength. There will be voices around you telling you to stop. People who don't understand your journey. People who gave up on their own. Ignore that. Their limits don't belong to you. Their hesitation doesn't have to be your story. You only get one life, and it's not going to wait for you to feel ready. You have to move when it's hard. You have to act when it's uncomfortable. You have to trust yourself when nobody else does. That's what builds greatness. Face your pain. Don't flinch. Don't pause. Don't look for a way around it. Go through it. Go right through it. And when you come out on the other side, and you will, you'll be stronger, clearer, and more alive than ever. This is the time. This is your test. And you are built for it. Push through. Number 2, stand up now and refuse to back down. There comes a moment in your life when silence is no longer an option, when looking down is no longer acceptable, when you know deep in your bones that if you don't stand up now, everything you say you want will slip away for good. That moment is now. This is your moment. Stand up now and refuse to back down. You don't get stronger by waiting. You don't find confidence by sitting still. You build power by choosing to rise when everything in your life tells you to stay small. You rise when people doubt you. You rise when you doubt yourself. That's the test. That's the moment where you decide what kind of person you're going to be for the rest of your life. Not someday. Not when it's easier. Right now. Somewhere along the way, life hits you. Maybe it was the rejection you didn't see coming, the job you lost, the relationship that broke you, the goals you set that never came through, and the weight of it builds up, slowly, quietly, until you feel like you're sinking. And for a while you get used to being down there. But deep inside you, something still burns. Something still wants to fight. That part of you is still alive, and it's waiting on you to stop explaining your pain and start taking your power back. Standing up doesn't mean you have all the answers. It means you're done being stepped on. It means you've had enough of playing weak. It means you're finally choosing to back yourself, even if nobody else does. And when you do that, when you rise with nothing but your will, the game changes. This world does not slow down for anyone. It moves fast, it hits hard, and it doesn't care how tired you are. If you want something real, if you want a life that means something, you can't wait to feel ready. You've got to stand up when it's inconvenient, when it's messy, when it's risky. Because life will not pause until you feel strong. It will keep testing you until you prove that you are. The reason most people stay stuck isn't because they're not talented. It's not because they're not smart. It's because they don't make that one clear decision. I will not be pushed around by fear anymore. I will not lower my voice to make others comfortable. I will not live another year explaining to myself why I still haven't done what I said I would do. That decision changes your life. It gives you back your fire. And once you feel that fire again, there's no going back. It's not about being fearless. It's about refusing to run. Fear doesn't go away, but you can stop letting it drive your choices. You can stop giving it power over your future, because here's the truth. Fear only grows in silence. But when you stand up and move anyway, fear gets quiet. It loses control, and you take back the wheel. You've been told to wait your turn, to be patient, to lower your expectations. But who are they to decide how far you go? Who are they to say when your time is? You don't need their permission. You don't need their applause. You need your own commitment. That's it. Just you. All in. No excuses. No waiting. No backup plan. Just a real decision that this is the day you rise. You may not feel ready. That's okay. Readiness is a feeling, and feelings lie, but decisions don't. Action doesn't. You don't need motivation. You need movement. One step, then another, then another. Because once you start, everything changes. The fear doesn't grow stronger. The courage does. Stop apologizing for wanting more. Stop minimizing your vision, because others are too afraid to chase theirs. Your life is your responsibility. Your voice matters. Your future depends on what you do right now. Not tomorrow. Not when the timing is perfect. Right now. Don't wait for others to believe in you. You believe first. You trust your own ability. You bet on your own fight. Because when it gets hard, and it will, that belief is what keeps you in the game. Not luck, not hype, just the quiet force inside you that says, I won't back down. When you were younger, you may have learned to stay quiet to stay safe. You may have been taught not to speak up or take space, but you're not that person anymore. You're not a child. You have a voice now. You have a mind. You have a choice. And the longer you wait to use them, the heavier regret will become. Every time you let fear stop you, you shrink. Every time you back down, you teach yourself that your feelings are more powerful than your values. But you can turn it around. You can rewrite the story. And it starts by standing up when everything in you wants to disappear. When your mind says hide, you say no. When your emotions say quit, you say keep going. That's where growth lives. Life will not hand you strength. You have to build it. You build it every time you do the hard thing anyway. Every time you speak up when your voice shakes. Every time you face the mirror and decide that your past no longer defines you. This is where the real change begins. Not in books, not in plans, but in action, in courage, in choosing your values over your fears. You are not broken. You are not too late. You are not weak. You are a fighter who forgot how strong you are. And the moment you remember, everything starts to shift. The world around you starts to notice. You walk different. You speak different. You expect more. Not from others, but from yourself. That is what standing up really is. It's not about ego. It's not about proving others wrong. It's about reclaiming who you really are. The person you were before the world told you to settle. The person you were before failure tried to convince you that you couldn't handle more. You are that person. You've always been. But now it's time to live like it. Don't let another day pass hoping things will get better. Make them better. Make a decision so clear, so unshakable that nothing can move you off your path. And when life hits, and it will, you don't fold. You don't run. You rise. And you rise with your head up and your heart on fire. You've played it safe long enough. You've stayed quiet long enough. You've watched others live while you waited. But now it's your time. Not because someone said so, not because conditions are perfect, but because you said so. You drew the line. You stood up, and you refused to back down. That's the beginning of the life you've been waiting for. The moment you stop asking and start becoming, the moment you stop holding back and start showing up, all in, fully present, no more delay. Stand up now. Own your strength. Make this the day you never forget. The day you said, I won't live small anymore. And watch what happens when you start living like your future depends on it. Because it does. Number 3, get out of bed and fight for your future. If you don't win the morning, you'll lose the day. Right now, there's someone out there who wants the same life you say you want. But they're already up, already moving, already putting in the work. While you're still deciding whether or not to hit snooze, they're choosing to move one step closer to their dream. You've been saying you want a better future. You've been thinking about what's possible. But now you need to prove it. Not by talking, not by planning, but by doing the one thing that separates the dreamers from the doers. Getting out of bed and fighting for it. The hardest part of building a better life is not some impossible task. It's not starting a business or moving across the country or mastering a new skill. No, the hardest part is this: getting up when everything inside you wants to stay down. Rising when no one's watching. Choosing action when comfort is begging you to wait. There will be days when you don't feel like it. There will be mornings when the weight of yesterday feels like it's chained to your back. That's when most people roll over. That's when they tell themselves, just 5 more minutes. But 5 more minutes turns into a habit. And that habit steals your time. It steals your energy. It robs you of the life you could be living. You cannot build a future on wishes. You build it on discipline, on choices, on waking up tired but getting up anyway. Because that's what fighters do. That's what winners do. Not because it's easy, not because they're superhuman, but because they know what's at stake if they don't. Think about this. How many times have you told yourself that tomorrow will be different? How many times have you promised that next week you'll finally get serious? But nothing changes until you change your mornings. Nothing grows until you show up, even when the feelings aren't there. Because motivation fades, it comes and goes. But purpose stays. Discipline stays. That's what carries you through when your body is sore, your mind is tired, and your heart is unsure. The first fight of the day is not out there in the world, it's in your room. It's with your alarm clock. It's with your thoughts. That voice that says, stay in bed, you'll try again later. That voice that reminds you of every failure. You've heard it so many times, you start to think it's you. But it's not. It's fear. It's doubt. It's the old you trying to pull you back down. And today, you need to say no. You need to get up and shut that voice down by proving that it no longer runs your life. Every morning you stay in bed when you know you shouldn't is another vote for the version of you that's stuck. But every time you rise when it's hard, you cast a vote for the future you want. This isn't just about getting out of bed. It's about deciding who's in control. Your excuses or your future. Your feelings or your goals. You can't have both. There's a future version of you waiting. The stronger version. The healthier version. The focused, respected, fulfilled version of you. But they don't show up out of nowhere. You create that person. You train yourself into becoming them. And it starts with doing what most people refuse to do, getting up, day after day, even when it's uncomfortable. You say you want freedom. You say you want options. But freedom costs energy. It costs sacrifice. The price is paid in sweat, and early mornings, and skipped distractions. You can't buy your future with wishful thinking. You pay for it with consistency. You earn it with focus. You win it by deciding that no matter how you feel, you will not let another day pass by without effort. There are people depending on the best version of you. Maybe it's your family. Maybe it's your future family. Maybe it's your younger self who had dreams you haven't lived yet. Don't let them down. Don't let another year go by saying, "I'll start when I feel better." Because feelings lie. Action doesn't. Action tells the truth about what you're committed to. Some of you are stuck in a loop. You wake up late. You feel behind. You beat yourself up. You promise to change. Then you repeat the cycle. And you start believing that this is just how it is. But it's not. That loop can be broken. And it starts with one decision, one action, one morning, where you fight back instead of giving in. That's all it takes. A pattern only breaks when you interrupt it with a new behavior. Start simple. You don't have to be perfect. You don't need to wake up at 4 a.m. and conquer the world on day one. But you do need to move. You do need to stop negotiating with laziness. You do need to stand on your values even when your comfort tries to pull you back into bed. That's where it begins. That's how you start building a mindset that can handle more, do more, and become more. You're not tired because you work too hard. You're tired because you've been avoiding your purpose. You're tired from the weight of delay, of excuses, of living in a cycle that doesn't serve you. That's what drains you. But when you take action, even the smallest step, you feel something shift. You start to feel alive again. You remember what it's like to be in charge of your day instead of being a victim of it. So here's the truth. You don't need more time. You need more action. You don't need more sleep. You need more clarity. You don't need to feel perfect. You need to be real with yourself and admit that the life you want will not come to you. You have to go to it. You have to fight for it. With everything you've got. Even when it's early. Even when it's cold. Even when you're the only one who's doing it. Stop making comfort your king. Make progress your standard. Make rising your habit. Get out of bed like someone who knows their life is worth showing up for. Get up like someone who refuses to settle. And fight, not just for a better day, but for a better future. Because this is more than just a morning. This is your training ground. This is your test. And every day you show up, every day you choose effort over ease, you win. Maybe not all at once, maybe not overnight, but brick by brick, you build the life you know you're meant to live. And when the world sees that version of you, the one who gets up, the one who moves through pain, the one who chooses fire over fear, they'll wonder how you did it. But you'll know. You'll know it started here. It started today. It started when you got out of bed and fought for your future like it already belonged to you. So stand up, move, breathe deep, step forward, and don't look back. This is your time, your life, and it starts now. Number 4, shut down excuses and do the hard thing today. You are not stuck because of your potential. You are stuck because of your excuses. Every time you say, "I'll do it later," every time you look for a reason to wait, every time you tell yourself the conditions aren't perfect, you're not protecting yourself, you're delaying the life you could be living. Excuses feel safe. They feel like little shields. But they're not. They're cages. And the only way out is to stop believing them. You know what needs to be done. You've known for a while. You've thought about it. You've written it down. You've even imagined how your life could change if you followed through. But then the excuses come in like a quiet voice in the background. "I'm tired. I don't have time. I'll start tomorrow." And that voice is not helping you. It's robbing you. It's taking your energy and your confidence and replacing them with guilt and regret. You don't need another reason to wait. You need a reason to act. And I'll give you one. It's because every day you delay the hard thing is another day you stay where you are. And you're not meant to stay where you are. You are meant to grow. You are meant to evolve. But evolution requires discomfort. It requires work. It requires doing the thing you've been avoiding. I've watched people with incredible potential waste it for years because they were too afraid to do what was difficult. They wanted the reward without the responsibility. They wanted results without resistance. But that's not how it works. You don't get strong by avoiding heavy things. You get strong by lifting them, even when they hurt. Especially when they hurt. Look around your life right now. What is the one thing you've been avoiding? That hard conversation? That new habit? That decision you've been postponing for months? That's your starting point. That's your entry ticket to the next level of your life. And you can't afford to delay it anymore. Not because you're running out of time, but because every excuse makes you believe more and more that the life you want is out of reach. The truth is, most people are not held back by what they can't do. They're held back by what they won't do. It's not lack of ability, it's lack of action. You don't need more knowledge. You need more execution. You don't need another plan. You need commitment. And you get that by shutting down the lies your brain tells you every time something feels uncomfortable. Excuses are sneaky. They sound logical. They sound protective. But they are built on fear, not fact. And once you start challenging them, you begin to see the cracks. You begin to notice how they've been holding you in place. You begin to realize that you've been waiting for permission to live a life that already belongs to you. You have one job today. Do the hard thing. Don't do the easy thing. Don't do the convenient thing. Do the thing that scares you. Do the thing that challenges you. Because that is the only way to grow. And if you do it today, even just once, you start building something inside yourself that's stronger than excuses, belief. This is how you change. Not through dramatic declarations. Not through waiting for the perfect time. You change by showing up when you don't feel ready. You change by facing resistance and moving forward anyway. You change by doing what's uncomfortable until it becomes who you are. That's the process. And yes, it's hard, but it's also real and it works. Stop telling yourself that your life is harder than others. Stop saying you don't have what they have. That kind of talk might feel true in the moment, but it's not helpful. And it's not honest. Because what you have right now is a decision. And that decision is this: will you let your life be shaped by fear or by effort? You've got pain either way. There's the pain of doing the hard thing, and there's the pain of regret for not doing it. But only one of those leads to something better. Only one builds your future. Only one makes you stronger, wiser, more capable. That's the path. That's your path. And it starts the moment you stop waiting and start moving. When you get up and face the hard thing, it may not feel like a victory right away, but over time, you will feel the difference. You'll feel stronger. You'll respect yourself more. You'll start to trust your own word again. Because nothing builds confidence like doing what you say you're going to do, even when it's hard. You have to stop making excuses feel normal. You have to treat them like the enemy. Because they are. They are the silent killers of dreams, and you've listened to them long enough. Today, you do the opposite. Today, you do the thing you've been putting off. You take the first step. You make the call. You put in the work. You show yourself that you are more powerful than your fears. There's a real cost to delay. It's not just time. It's opportunity. It's growth. It's confidence. And if you're not careful, excuses will eat away at your life until one day you look around and realize you never really tried. That can't be your story. You didn't come this far to quit now. You didn't go through everything you've been through just to stop when things get hard. Do it today, not tomorrow, not next week, not when things settle down, because you're never going to feel perfectly ready. You'll always find a reason to wait. But none of those reasons matter. What matters is whether you're willing to do what needs to be done. And here's the part no one talks about. When you do the hard thing, you don't just change the task. You change yourself. You grow resilience. You build grit. You create a mindset that can handle more. And that kind of mindset changes everything. Not just your results, but your identity. You stop being the person who hopes. You become the person who acts. So do it now. Get up, take the first uncomfortable step. Do it not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Do it because you're tired of letting yourself down. Do it because the life you want is tired of waiting. And when you're done, when you've pushed through and proven to yourself what's possible, don't stop. Do it again tomorrow. And the day after that. Keep going. Keep choosing progress over comfort. Keep choosing growth over fear. Keep choosing the future over the excuse. Because once you do the hard thing enough times, it's not hard anymore. It's who you are. And who you are is someone who doesn't settle. Someone who doesn't wait. Someone who shuts down excuses and gets it done. Not someday. Not soon. Today. Number 5. Break your limits by taking one more hard step. You don't need more time. You need more courage to act now. Some people wait their whole lives thinking they need to gather just a little more motivation, get one more push, find that perfect moment when it all clicks into place. But life doesn't work like that. The truth is, nothing changes until you do. Nothing moves until you move. You can wait for the sun to rise perfectly or the stars to align. But the hard thing, the thing you know you need to do, will still be waiting. And the longer you delay, the heavier it becomes. Excuses come easy. They whisper things that sound reasonable. You're tired. You've had a long day. You'll do it tomorrow. But the problem with excuses is that they grow stronger the more you feed them. And they don't just stop you from taking action. They take a piece of your confidence every time you obey them. You may think you're being kind to yourself by taking it easy, but what you're actually doing is training your brain to choose comfort over growth. And that's dangerous. Because once you become someone who hesitates, who delays, who explains away why today isn't the day, you're also becoming someone who gives away control over their future. Now, I want you to think about what the hard thing is for you right now. It could be starting something you've been putting off. It could be having a conversation you've avoided for years. Maybe it's working on your body, building discipline, starting that business, changing your habits. Whatever it is, it's sitting right there. You know it. You feel it every time you think about where your life could be. But you've been finding ways around it. You've built walls of reasons and wrapped them in logic. But underneath all of it is fear. Not laziness, fear. Fear of failing, fear of discomfort, fear of judgment, fear that maybe you don't have what it takes. That's what drives excuses. And the only way to break that fear is to do the thing anyway. You don't have to feel ready. You just have to start. People make the mistake of thinking motivation comes before action. It doesn't. Action comes first. You act your way into motivation. You don't wait for it. If you want to be the kind of person who changes their life, you start with small actions that scare you. You prove to yourself you can do it. And that proof is what builds belief. Most of the time, the hard thing is not even as hard as we imagine. It's just that we've played it up in our mind for so long, we've made it bigger than it is. And while we've been doing that, days are slipping by, weeks go by, years go by. You blink and 5 years have passed, and you're still in the same place, telling the same story about why it wasn't the right time. That's not the life you want. That's not the story you want to live. Every time you do something hard, you build a version of yourself that is stronger, bolder, more in control. And the thing is, no one's going to do it for you. No one's coming to save you. No one's going to drag you out of bed, force you to make the call, push you into the gym, sit you down to build your goals. That's your job. You don't need to wait until you're in the mood. You don't need to wait until you feel inspired. You just need to decide. Because once you decide, everything changes. The moment you shut the door on excuses and say enough, you begin to reclaim your power. If you've been stuck, if you've been spinning your wheels, if you've been quietly suffering because you know you're capable of more, today is the day to stop that cycle. Not next Monday, not when the pressure dies down, not when you feel more like yourself. Now, right here, right in the middle of the mess, right in the middle of the chaos. That's where real growth happens. Because if you can do the hard thing when you're tired, when you're scared, when you're uncertain, that's where real change begins. Nobody gets better by doing what's easy. Nobody grows by avoiding discomfort. If you're not doing the hard thing, you're not moving forward. And I get it. It's not glamorous. It's not Instagram worthy. It doesn't always feel good. But the payoff is real. Because what you earn is not just a result, it's self-respect. And that is something no one can give you and no one can take away. This is what separates people. Not talent, not luck, but the choice to do the hard thing when everything inside you wants to walk away. That's where character is built. That's where confidence is born. That's where you rise above average and start becoming someone who lives with purpose. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be honest. Honest enough to say, I've been making excuses and they're holding me back. Honest enough to admit that fear's been steering the wheel. Honest enough to take control back today. Because if you can shut down one excuse, you can shut down them all. It's a muscle. And like any muscle, it gets stronger every time you use it. And I promise you, there's a version of you that's already capable of doing the hard thing. You just haven't met them yet. But they're waiting. They show up when you stop negotiating with yourself. They come alive when you stop asking, do I feel like it? And start saying, this matters more than how I feel. That's when everything shifts. This moment right now could be the turning point. Not because I said something magical, not because the timing is perfect, but because you decide to draw a line in the sand. You decide to do the thing you've avoided. You decide to get back in control. That's it. That's all it takes. One honest decision followed by action. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need more inspiration. You just need to start. One step, one choice, one hard thing, today. Not someday, not soon, today. And when you do, when you follow through, not just once, but over and over, you'll begin to trust yourself again. You'll stop looking for validation. You'll stop waiting for motivation. You'll realize you're the one who sets the tone for your life. And nothing feels better than that. That is freedom. That is power. So here it is. Shut the door on the excuses. Shut them down completely. Don't argue with them. Don't explain them. Don't negotiate with them. Just close the door and walk straight toward the hard thing. And don't look back. Number 6, hold the pressure and choose discipline over comfort. You are not falling behind. You're just being tested to see if you're serious. Most people crumble under pressure. They say they want more, but they choose what feels easy every time life tightens its grip. But I'll tell you something, most won't say out loud. Growth only happens under stress. You only rise when things are tight, when things are heavy, when every part of you is begging for comfort and you say, no, I'm not giving in, because pressure isn't your enemy, it's your trainer. It's the silent challenge that asks, are you committed or are you just interested? There comes a moment when you have to stop chasing relief and start choosing discipline. Comfort is the reward of someone who has already paid the price, not the person still running from the work. And that's where people break. They want the outcome, but not the sacrifice. They want the lifestyle, but not the schedule. They want to be respected, but not disciplined. That's not how life works. Not in the real world. If you want something different, you have to live different. So I'm asking you, what are you willing to hold on your back without dropping it when it gets tough? Can you take the pressure and still show up? Can you go to bed on time, even when no one's watching? Can you turn off the noise and keep your promises to yourself when comfort calls your name? That's what separates you. Not how you act when it's easy, but what you do when the weight is real. Look around, everybody's trying to escape discomfort. That's why they scroll for hours. That's why they complain. That's why they stay in the same spot year after year. Because comfort becomes the prison that keeps them average. But you're not here to stay average. You didn't come this far to stay soft. You're here to push past what most people settle for. You're here to build discipline so strong it holds you up when everything else falls apart. Now, don't misunderstand me. Discipline isn't about perfection. It's not about being the strongest or the smartest. It's about deciding every day that your long-term future matters more than how you feel right now. That the person you're becoming is worth more than a few minutes of ease. That the vision you have in your head, the one that keeps you awake at night, that's worth waking up early for. training for, grinding for. But that's going to require you to say no. Not to the world, but to the weaker version of yourself. The one that wants to hit snooze. The one that says, just this once. The one that promises it'll start tomorrow. You've got to silence that voice with action. And here's the hard truth. Nobody else is going to do that for you. You can't borrow someone else's discipline. You have to build it yourself, day by day, choice by choice, sacrifice by sacrifice. And it won't always feel good. It won't always be exciting. But that's the point. You're not chasing excitement. You're building character. And character isn't built in comfort. It's built when you show up tired, when you train without applause, when you grind without a guarantee. That's when you become the kind of person who can handle success because you earned it. You didn't luck into it. You lived into it. Some days you're going to want to quit. Some days your mind will try to convince you that you're not good enough or that it's not worth it. That's when you remind yourself, nothing great comes easy. Nothing meaningful is built by avoiding discomfort. And pressure? Pressure is the cost of leadership. Pressure is the cost of growth. You can't rise without it. And if you can hold it, if you can stay steady when everything inside you wants to break, that's where real transformation begins. So start small. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Create them. Get up early, even when it's dark. Do the workout, even when you're sore. Make the call, even when you're nervous. Push through the second you feel resistance. Not because it's fun, but because it's necessary. That's how discipline grows. And every time you do that, you build proof. Proof that you can trust yourself. Proof that your word means something. Proof that you can carry more than you thought. And let me tell you, there's no better feeling than that. There's nothing like knowing that when others fold, you don't. That when the world looks for a shortcut, you stay on the path. That when pressure hits, you don't run, you lean into it. Because pressure doesn't break the disciplined. It builds them. I know it's tempting to go back to comfort, to ease up just a little, to say I've done enough for today. But the real question is, what would your life look like if you stayed disciplined one more day? One more week? One more year? How different could things be if you stopped breaking promises to yourself? You'll never know unless you try. But if you don't try, you'll never get to meet the version of you that was born in the pressure, the version of you who didn't back down, who didn't flinch, who kept going. That version of you is possible. But it only shows up when discipline becomes your default, not just your backup plan. So make that decision today, not tomorrow, not someday, today. Hold the pressure. Don't beg for it to go away. Learn to stand in it. Learn to breathe in it. Learn to build in it. You are stronger than your doubts. You are tougher than your fears. And you are more capable than you've ever been told. So the next time pressure shows up, don't shrink. Stand tall. Don't escape. Embrace it. And when you do, you'll stop waiting for life to change and start becoming the person who changes it. Now go do the hard thing, the thing that matters, the thing that scares you, and do it with discipline so sharp that nothing can shake it. Because this is your time. This is your turn. And the world is watching to see if you're the kind who folds or the kind who finishes. Number 7, silence your doubts and take the next bold action. You've waited long enough. Now it's time to take the step that scares you. The truth is, doubt is the quiet voice that kills more dreams than failure ever could. Doubt doesn't shout. It whispers. It says, maybe later. It says, what if you're not ready? It tells you to slow down, to think about what might go wrong. And if you listen to it long enough, you start believing it. You start believing you need more time, more support, more proof. But here's what you need most: bold action. Not perfect action, not guaranteed success, just bold, decisive forward motion. Every great change starts the same way, with fear in your stomach, with uncertainty in your chest, with questions in your mind. But the people who change their lives aren't the ones who wait until those feelings disappear. They're the ones who move anyway. You can't wait for confidence to show up before you act. Confidence is built after you act. That's the part people miss. That's the part most never figure out. You've got a goal, you've got a dream, but doubt is circling you like a storm. Maybe you've failed before. Maybe people around you have talked you out of it. Maybe life knocked the wind out of you. I get it. But here's what matters. You're still here. That means something. That means the fight in you hasn't died. That means there's still more in you to give. You can take the hit. You can carry the weight. And more than anything, you can silence the noise in your head telling you to hold back. Because here's the truth. If you don't take that next bold step, someone else will. And it's not about competition. It's about ownership. It's your life. You either lead it or you let it drift. There is no in between. Waiting feels safe, but it's dangerous. Waiting keeps you stuck in the same story. Taking action, real, risky, honest action. That's how you flip the script. So what does bold action look like for you right now? Is it making a decision you've been avoiding? Is it saying no to something that's been draining you for years? Is it finally speaking up and asking for what you need? Is it applying, starting, calling, building, showing up? Don't overthink it. The next bold step is already inside you. You know exactly what it is. You've known it for a long time. But doubt's been louder than your instinct. Today that changes. You need to understand what's on the other side of that action. Your potential is not hiding behind comfort. It's behind courage. It's not going to arrive in the mail. It's not going to knock on your door and introduce itself. You have to go get it. You have to say, I may not feel ready, but I am willing. And willingness always beats waiting. The brain is designed to protect you. So when it senses risk, it feeds you reasons to stay put. That's not weakness. That's biology. But you're not your biology. You're your choices. You can rewire yourself with decisions. One brave move at a time. And the more you do that, the more your brain learns that discomfort isn't danger. It's growth. It's power. It's freedom. That's how you take your life back from fear, from excuses, from patterns you didn't even realize were running you. The people who win aren't fearless. They're just tired of being controlled by fear. They've learned to step toward what scares them instead of away from it. They've trained their minds to associate progress with movement, not perfection. That's what you need right now. Not a perfect plan, but a decision to move, even if it's messy, even if it's awkward, even if you don't know how it ends. Because most people never reach their potential, not because they can't, but because they won't take that first imperfect step. You don't need to do everything today, but you do need to do something. And that something needs to be bold enough to change your momentum. You don't build a legacy on neutral actions. You build it on decisions that scare you a little, but align with what matters most. So don't wait for the doubt to go away. Just stop giving it the microphone. You have too much in front of you to keep living in your head. Remember this. Regret feels heavier than risk. You will never regret showing up with everything you've got. You will never regret saying, I tried. What you'll regret is holding back, waiting for some perfect moment that never came. There is no perfect time. There's only now. And now is asking, what will you do with the fear you feel? You can use it. You can step through it. You can let it push you into motion. And once you do, things will start to shift. Not overnight, but they will. You'll build proof that you can handle what comes next. You'll build a new story, one where you stop doubting and start leading. One where you show up even when it's hard. One where your action becomes your identity. That's how bold people are made. They weren't born with extra courage. They earned it by doing the thing they were afraid of again and again until fear stopped winning. You can be that person too. You're not waiting for courage. You're building it. So here's the challenge. Whatever the next move is, the one that's been nagging at you, the one you've been trying to ignore, do it today. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Today. Make the call. Start the thing. Say the words. Change the schedule. Hit send. Sign up. Walk in. Do what scared people won't. Be the example of what it looks like when someone finally stops listening to doubt and starts listening to truth. And your truth is this: you're capable of more than you think. Your next breakthrough isn't hiding in your thoughts, it's waiting on the other side of bold action. So stop thinking. Start doing. This is your moment. Grab it. Own it. Move. And once you do, never look back. Number 8. Look your fear in the eye and go forward. You've been running long enough. It's time to turn around, stare your fear in the face, and move straight through it. Fear feeds on avoidance. It grows in silence, gains strength when you stall, and becomes your master the moment you start obeying it. Every time you shrink back from what matters, fear tightens its grip. But there's something you need to know. Fear isn't a sign to stop. It's proof that you're standing at the edge of something worth doing. The people who rise in life are not the ones who feel no fear. They're the ones who move anyway. They look at the thing that shakes their nerves, and instead of backing off, they step forward. Heart racing, mind spinning, but feet moving. You've got something inside you waiting to come alive, and fear is the gatekeeper. That dream you can't stop thinking about. That change you've been meaning to make. That conversation you've avoided. That version of yourself you know you're supposed to become. It's all just one decision away. But that decision lives on the other side of fear. And until you confront it, you stay stuck. Stuck thinking. Stuck hoping. Stuck watching others pass you by. Fear's voice sounds like logic. It gives you reasons. It's sneaky like that. It tells you it's protecting you. It says, wait until you're ready. Or what if you fail? Or maybe it's not the right time. But those aren't reasons. They're delays. They sound wise, but they're chains. Fear doesn't want to destroy you. It wants to delay you until you forget what you're capable of. There comes a point where you have to choose. Do you want comfort or courage? You don't get both. If you want to grow, if you want to rise, you must make fear your companion, not your ruler. Fear can walk beside you, but it can't be the one steering the wheel. You've got to say, yes, I'm scared. Yes, I'm uncertain. But I'm doing this anyway. That's how power is built. Choice by choice. Even when your hands are shaking. Think back to your life right now. Think about something you've been putting off, not because you don't care, but because it scares you. Maybe it's putting yourself out there. Maybe it's letting go of something safe. Maybe it's chasing a dream you know you're meant to pursue. The clock is ticking. Fear wants you to forget that. But time isn't waiting for your fear to fade. You must act while it's still present. You must act despite the lump in your throat. You must act even when your voice is trembling. Here's what most people don't realize. Fear doesn't disappear when you wait. It disappears when you prove it wrong. Action dissolves fear. Not theories. Not books. Not positive thinking. Action. One step forward. One uncomfortable move. One bold decision. That's what breaks the cycle. That's what silences the doubt. You weren't born to live a small, careful life. You were made to stretch, to rise, to do hard things. You've already survived more than you give yourself credit for. And yet here you are, questioning yourself, wondering if you have what it takes. Let me be clear, you do. You just haven't seen what's possible when you stop running from the fear and start walking through it. It's going to feel uncomfortable. Growth always does. There's no way around that. But being uncomfortable isn't the same as being unsafe. You won't die from speaking up. You won't lose everything by trying. You won't fall apart by risking rejection. In fact, it's in those moments when you feel exposed, when your heart's pounding, when you're stepping into the unknown, that the real transformation begins. And don't believe the lie that other people aren't scared. The difference is that they act. They stand in the fire and keep walking. They use fear as a compass. If something makes them nervous, they pay attention, because that's often the very thing they need to do next. Fear points to growth. Fear points to purpose. Fear points to the door that opens the next level of your life. You can build a powerful life not by removing fear, but by becoming someone who can walk with it. That means getting up when you want to hide. That means speaking even when your voice shakes. That means applying even when you don't feel qualified. That means moving forward when your mind says stop. Not because you know how it will end, but because you finally realized you can't let fear write your story. Your future is waiting. It's not going to show up wrapped in safety and certainty. It's going to show up dressed in fear and disguised as challenge. The sooner you accept that, the faster you'll grow. So look your fear in the eye. See it for what it is. Not a wall, but a test. Not a stop sign, but a signal. You are stronger than you think. You have more to give, and you are ready, even if you don't feel it. Right now, you have a choice. You can keep listening to the voice that says not yet, or you can say enough. Enough with the waiting. Enough with the second guessing. Enough with the what ifs. This is your moment. This is your life. And it doesn't get better by accident. It gets better by action. So what's the next move? Not tomorrow. Not when it feels easier. Right now. Do the thing. Say the words. Send the message. Make the call. Take the leap. Push the door. Whatever it is, do it today. Not perfectly. Not confidently. But completely. Do it while the fear still lingers. That's how you'll win. That's how you'll grow. That's how you'll become the person you were meant to be. Fear doesn't disappear, but it loses power when you stop letting it lead. And once you've done that, you'll never be the same. Because now you know, you were never weak. You were just waiting to prove it to yourself. So go, stand tall, step forward, look fear in the eye, and walk right through it. Number 9, stop waiting and take control of your situation now. No one is coming to save you. This is the moment you decide to save yourself. Every second you hesitate is another second you hand your power over to fear, to doubt, to uncertainty. And the longer you wait, the heavier life becomes. You feel it, don't you? That quiet frustration building inside you, that voice that says, I should be further by now. But here's the truth. Nothing changes until you change. Nothing moves until you move. The breakthrough you're waiting for won't happen on its own. It's triggered by a decision, your decision. You've got dreams that haven't seen the light of day, visions that have been buried under responsibilities, excuses, or the lie that now isn't the right time. But the truth is, now is the only time you've got. Tomorrow is a gamble. Waiting for the perfect moment is a fantasy. There is no ideal condition where everything lines up just right. There's just now. And what you choose to do with it will define your life from this point forward. Look around at your current situation. Be honest. Have you been reacting or creating? Have you been surviving or leading? It's easy to fall into routines, to convince yourself that stability is the same thing as progress. But deep down, you know better. You weren't made to coast. You weren't made to live on autopilot. You were made to rise, to build, to lead your life with intention and fire. And that starts with ownership. Taking control doesn't mean everything gets easy. It means you stop blaming what's outside you and start changing what's inside you. Your circumstances, they don't define your future. Your choices do. The money you don't have, the job you can't stand, the relationships that drain you, the habits that hold you back, none of it has the final say. You do. You are not a victim. You are not a spectator. You are the author, and the pen is still in your hand. But here's where it gets real. Change is hard. Taking control is uncomfortable. It demands that you face parts of yourself you'd rather ignore. The laziness, the procrastination, the fears you mask with distractions. You've got to rip the mask off and confront it head on. Because if you don't, life will keep repeating itself. Different day, same cycle, same regrets, same questions. Why am I stuck? When will things get better? But better isn't found, it's created. You can wait another month, another year, another decade, or you can interrupt the pattern right now. And it doesn't start with massive shifts. It starts with one powerful choice: to stop tolerating what drains you and start building what fulfills you. Get up earlier. Turn the TV off. Cut the excuses. Take the risk. Speak the truth. Learn the skill. Make the call. It's not about overhauling everything overnight. It's about deciding once and for all that you will no longer be passive in the story of your own life. Think of the strongest people you admire, the ones who inspire you, the ones who turned nothing into something. They weren't chosen. They weren't lucky. They got tired of waiting. They made a decision, and then they backed it up with relentless action, day after day. No guarantees, no shortcuts, just grit, just hunger, just belief that they were the ones responsible for building the life they wanted. You have that same power. It's not reserved for a few. It's not out of reach, but it is out of bounds for anyone who refuses to act. And that's what separates winners from watchers. Action. Everyone wants the result. Few are willing to demand more from themselves every day. But when you finally do, when you finally step up, when you refuse to waste another minute, everything shifts. The energy changes. People notice. Opportunities open. Because the world responds to those who take themselves seriously. No more waiting for permission. No more hoping someone will discover you. No more pretending the discomfort you feel is normal. It's not. It's a signal, a warning, a wake-up call that your life is meant for more than what you've settled for. And don't you dare say you're not ready. No one ever is. Readiness is a myth. Clarity comes from movement, not stillness. You get clear when you get busy. When you put your feet on the ground and start walking in the direction of the life you want. You stumble, you adjust, you learn, and then you grow. But you'll never grow from the couch. You'll never rise waiting for someone to push you. You must push yourself, even if it's hard, especially when it's hard. That's when growth becomes permanent. That's when confidence is built. Every time you choose action over avoidance, you take another step toward mastery. And each step forward makes the next one easier. Right now, there is a version of you that is stronger, wiser, bolder, and freer. But you'll never meet them if you keep postponing the decision to change. Stop waiting for a break. Be the break. Stop hoping someone will give you a shot. Take the shot. Stop begging life to give you more. Instead, demand more from yourself. This is your time. This is your edge. No more hiding. No more hesitation. If you've been looking for a sign, this is it. Take control of your time. Take control of your energy. Take control of your choices. Because no one else can live your life for you, and no one else will pay the price for your inaction but you. So stand up, right now. Not later, not tomorrow, right now. Take a breath, ground yourself, and declare, I'm done waiting. I am in charge now. Say it, mean it, and then do something. Even if it's small, even if it scares you. Because momentum is built by movement, not by thinking. You have the power. You have the mind. You have the heart. Now it's time to have the courage. You don't need more time. You need a decision. So take it. Take control. Take ownership. Take the next step. Your life won't wait. Neither should you. Number 10, push yourself harder when everything screams to quit. When everything inside you begs you to stop, that's the exact moment you must push harder than you ever have in your life. You know that voice. The one that whispers, you've done enough. The one that tells you no one would blame you for quitting. The one that tempts you with comfort, rest, escape. But listen closely, because that voice, it's not your ally. It's the siren song of mediocrity. It's the silent killer of potential. And it's your job right now to silence it with action, with grit, with unshakable resolve. You are not here to fold under pressure. You are not wired to quit when it gets hard. You are not built for easy. You are built to rise, especially when your body is tired, your mind is overwhelmed, and your soul feels drained. That's the moment the real you shows up. The version of you that doesn't need everything to be perfect. The version that doesn't rely on motivation. The one that moves forward on discipline and desire alone. Pain is not your enemy. Pressure is not your problem. The problem is you've believed that struggle means stop. But in reality, struggle means grow. Discomfort isn't a wall. It's a door. And the harder it pushes against you, the closer you are to breaking through into a life you've never known. You've got to ask yourself, what do I want more? Comfort or greatness? Rest or results? Ease or evolution? Because you can't have both. There comes a point where you must pick. And if you keep choosing what's soft, what's safe, what's predictable, you will never taste the reward that only comes to those who endure. You will never meet the version of yourself forged by resistance. The version shaped not by wins, but by the decision to keep going when every cell in your body wanted to stop. There's a hidden world inside you, one you've barely touched, a deeper gear, a sharper focus, an energy you didn't even know existed, but it doesn't show itself when things are going well. It reveals itself in chaos, in challenge, in the heat of the moment when the average person folds. That's when you dig. That's when you tap into the power you've buried under doubt and hesitation. Think about every time you've stopped short, every time you let exhaustion make the call, every time you told yourself, tomorrow. What did it get you? Nothing but regret. But now, right now, you have a chance to write a different ending. To refuse to be the kind of person who lets temporary pain dictate permanent results. Because let's be clear, this pain won't last. The exhaustion will fade, the fear will pass, but the growth, that stays. The confidence you build by pushing through, that becomes part of your identity. You don't become a warrior when the sun is shining. You become one when the storm hits, and you decide to move anyway. Winners don't stop when they're tired. They stop when they're done. They train themselves to perform under pressure, to show up on the days when everything feels heavy, to rise when everything around them screams sit. They know something most people never understand. The most powerful version of you is the one who doesn't flinch in the fire. You must become someone who thrives in adversity, who smiles when it's hard, who welcomes resistance because they know it's building them into something unstoppable. Anyone can perform when they're fresh, when it's easy, when they feel inspired. But that's not where greatness lives. Greatness is born in the trenches, in the late nights, in the early mornings, in the repetitions that no one else sees. And here's the wild part. It's not even about winning right now. It's about showing yourself who you are. Every time you refuse to quit, you plant a flag in your mind that says, this is who I am. You write it into your nervous system. You etch it into your soul. And over time, quitting stops being an option because you've conditioned yourself to expect more from you. You don't need someone to push you. You don't need external validation. You need a reason that burns deep in your chest, a purpose so personal it pulls you through the pain. You need to remember what's at stake. Maybe it's your family. Maybe it's your future. Maybe it's a promise you made to yourself that you refuse to break. Whatever it is, hold it close. Let it fuel you. Let it drown out every voice telling you to stop, and then move. One more set, one more rep, one more call, one more page, one more step forward into the fire. That's where transformation lives. When you push through what you thought was your limit, you expand, and you never shrink back to that old version of you again. It's irreversible. Every wall you break through becomes a new foundation, and the higher you build, the harder it becomes to fall. This isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about becoming someone who outlasts excuses, someone who doesn't negotiate with weakness, someone who wakes up and says, today, I dominate my mind. Because once you own your mind, everything else becomes a game. And I get it. It's hard. You're tired. You're stretched thin. You've been carrying more than people know. But that's exactly why you must push. Because no one's coming to lighten your load. And deep down, you don't want them to. You want to be the one who lifts it, who finishes it, who earns it. Because that's what builds pride. That's what builds peace. That's what makes it all worth it. So push. Push when your legs shake. Push when your breath shortens. Push when your doubts grow louder. Push when quitting feels justified. Because if you stop now, you'll never know who you could have been. But if you keep going, if you keep driving forward through the fog, one day you'll look back and realize that moment, the one where you almost broke, was the exact moment you were reborn. Now is the time to prove to yourself that you are not ordinary, that your potential is far greater than your pain, that you refuse to let a temporary feeling rob you of a permanent victory. Push yourself even when everything inside you screams to quit, because that's when you're finally on the edge of your breakthrough.